Welcome back, guys. I have an incredible game to show you from round 10 of the World Rapid Chess Championship. This game is played between Peter Svidler, who is the former Russian champion, and Dmitri Andreikin, the current Russian champion. So Peter Svidler had white in this game and he played knight to f3, knight f6 and c4, transposing to an English. So there are many ways here for black to play. Andreikin decided to play b6 and bfg3, so both sides go for a bishop fianchetto. Bishop b7, bishop g2, and here g6 from Andreikin, so going for a double bishop fianchetto. Svidler castle, we have c5, e3, so preparing a central truss with d4. Andreikin played bishop g7, we have d4, black castle, knight c3 and knight to e4 from Andreikin. So here if white decides to take the knight, black will happily recapture with his bishop, and his bishop cannot be challenged by white. If the knight moves, then black will gladly take on g2. So here after knight to e4, we have knight to e2 from Svidler, knight to c6, knight to f4, e6, rook to e1 and f5. So black cements his knight on the nice central square. So here d5 was played by Svidler, hoping to create a backward pawn target on d7 after the capture on d5. But this is a committal move because it opens up black's dark square bishop on this long diagonal, and it exerts quite a bit of pressure on b2. So here Andreikin took, and knight to e7, challenging the centralized knight. Svidler played knight to f4, so he does not want to allow the knight to take on d5 because then that would close up the d file and white would no longer have a target on d7. So note that black also can't push his d pawn at the moment because white has to move the move knight to e6, which would fork queen, rook and bishop. So here black played the move queen to c7, connecting his rooks. Svidler played a4, hoping to open up some lines on the queen side, and it's difficult for white to go after this d7 target at the moment because that can be easily defended by black. So here white also has some problems with his bishop on c1. This bishop isn't exactly great at the moment. Andreikin now meets Svidler's queenside plan with his own advancement on the king side. He plays g5. We have knight to h5 and here g4 from Andreikin. So here perhaps white should have played knight to d2. This was slightly better than what Svidler played. White is threatening to take the knight and win the g4 pawn at the end of the variation. So here black would have to take on d2 because if he retreats the knight, let's say knight to g5, this allows white to free up his position with a central break e4. So after the capture on d2, this would be a slightly better alternative than what happened in the game. So in the game, after the move g4, knight to h4 was played. So Andreikin now played his knight to g6, and this results in a favorable trade for black. So if white takes on g6 and then takes on g7, so here black gets the open h file for his rook. And here if knight takes g7, which was what Svidler played in the game, then knight takes h4, so Svidler accepts a weakened kingside structure. And this is now a crucial moment in the position for white. Svidler played his queen to c2. So perhaps better was to play b3 in this position. So white prepares to meet black's clear plan of rook f6 and rook to h6 with bishop b2, which would pin the rook on f6. But instead of going for this idea of b3, here queen to c2 from Svidler. And Andreikin continued on with his plan of rook f6 and rook to h6. So here b3, but this is now a bit late because black simply plays rook to h6, bishop b2 check, king f7. So it seems that white can't do much about rook takes h4 and queen takes h2. Svidler tries to defend this. He played bishop takes e4. But unfortunately, this gives up a crucial defender around white's king, because the bishop on g2 guards the very important h1 square. And after bishop takes e4, queen to c3 from Svidler, so this was his idea, to meet rook takes h4 with queen f6, followed by picking up the rook. So Andreikin saw this and he played rook to g8, lining up the rook with the king, and also planning something incredibly nasty. So here the best move for Svidler would be to play the queen to e5 to guard this crucial diagonal. But here Svidler blundered and he played the move a5. And now brace yourselves for an incredible combination. So here Andreikin played queen takes h2, double axe glam. So king takes h2 is forced, because if king to f1, bishop f3, followed by queen g2 mate. So here we have rook takes h4, king to g3 again forced. If king g1, then rook h1 is mate. So king to g3, rook h3 check, king f4, the only legal move. Rook to f3, king to e5, and here rook to g6, threatening two mates with d6 and rook to e6, and there's simply no defense. In fact, Peter Svidler resigned in this position. Kudos to both players for producing such an exciting game. I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. And as usual, if you enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more updates on the Rapid and Blitz World Championship. Thanks for watching and see you soon.